Hi everybody, it's Matt Siddell and I'm joined today by Adam Joseph. He's the CEO of the Happy Tennant Company and they manage a large number of properties across London for portfolio landlords. Welcome to the show, Adam. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you? Are you coping?
I'm just about hanging in there, thank you very much. Pretty busy times, but I want to ask you what's been going on in the rentals market. How are your tenants responding and how are they coping with the crisis?
Well, I suppose the same as everybody else. You know, there's a lot of frustration and a lot of worry out there. When all of this unfolded, towards the end of March, the first thing we did was just level up our communication with all our tenants. We could see everybody had an idea where this was going to go in terms of a lockdown situation and people working. So we just communicated very quickly with our tenants and just said, as we go along, if you've got any concerns,
talk to us.
Yeah, exactly. Specifically about paying your rent, just speak to us and we'll see how we can help.
Okay, so I imagine in March it was all looking a little bit desperate and panic stations were quite... I think we even spoke as well and it was looking a little bit dicey because we didn't know what was coming down the pipe, did we? And it didn't look like it was going to be very good.
And when you're running a business and you're trying to forecast and plan ahead, when something like, this is unprecedented, but you're faced with a situation where you simply cannot plan because no one knows, no one knew what was going to happen.
All right, so over the course of this interview, I'm going to be asking you lots of things about the challenges you've faced and the solutions that you've come up with. The way you think this is going to unfold, where you think this is heading, where you think this is taking the industry. We're going to make sure we give the viewers lots of content and lots of value, so stay with us. But one thing I just want to make really clear right at the beginning, you don't do any lettings, do you? You only do management. Why is that?
We just do property management, yeah. From the very beginning, the thought process behind it was, obviously there's hundreds of agents out there, hundreds of very good agents. And agents do sales, lettings, investments, managements, whatever fits into that estate agency package. And we felt at the time that there was something lacking in the industry, which was simply management focused, without any conflicts of trying to get any other fees or doing any other work. We just simply wanted to focus on the investment of the landlord. So for that reason, we stuck by that ethos. We've never ventured into any form of agency. We have panel agents that we use who find tenants for us when we need, but we don't get involved. We don't take any, there's no source of income for us from the agency side.
Because you probably make quite a lot of money if you did lettings, but what you're saying is that if a lettings agent is sending you a tenant and saying this person should live in your house, you want to make the decision like the landlord would make the decision without the incentive of taking a £2,000 fee for bringing someone on board. Is that right?
Yeah, without any question. In terms of running a business, we're leaving a lot of money on the table here because we don't do agency. But our landlords appreciate the fact that we're not sidetracked with trying to do a letting or trying to sell the property. They want to just know that we're looking after the property and we're looking after the tenant.
Yeah, and then presumably you're motivated to try and get the best tenants in there because they stay and they pay the rent on time and it's less work for you. All your fees fixed.
The comfort to our landlords is when we use the panel agents, they bring us the tenants, they agree the offer, we will then do the references. So only if we're happy do we then pass it on to the landlord to approve. So there's no conflict for us. We're not desperately trying to push a tenant into a property. We just want the best tenant because we've got to look after them for the next 12 months.
And do you think that's helped you cope with this crisis, that your interests are more aligned with your clients being the landlords?
Yes, because from a turnover point of view, we haven't been affected as badly as the agents because we're still managing the properties.
Right.
Please say we haven't lost any landlords on the back of this. I think actually what this has shown, it's reinforced our landlords' belief and confidence that they're grateful that they're with us because we've protected them throughout all of this and we have safeguarded their tenants and their rents.
Now, commercially, if people can't pay their rent, then that means your business isn't getting paid. Has that been an issue for you over the last 2 months?
We've had a few situations where there's been a few tenants that have really struggled with their rent and very few where they're not paying. I think the worst case scenario for our landlords so far has been reduction in rents, which we have negotiated with the tenants on behalf of the landlords. We set up a payment plan so that the landlords know they're getting it back. And we've had very reasonable conversations with both landlords and tenants where everybody's happy.
Okay. So has it been a dramatic increase in rent arrears or has it been fairly modest?
Fairly modest so far.
All right. And then how do you deal with the rent arrears? What are the solutions?
Well, the first thing we did, I think around the time the government guidelines came out about landlords getting payment holidays from their lenders, our communication to our tenants was, if you're going to struggle with your rent or you want to try and pay less, we'll need some sort of evidence to show how you've been impacted, because what we were assuming were, if our landlords were then going to go to their lenders may well say to them, yes, we can give you a payment holiday, but can you just show us how you've been impacted?
Yeah.
So I think what that's done is it's just shown our tenants that we're dealing with this in a professional way and in a transparent way as well. And, some people, will probably try and take advantage of what's going on if they can.
What about people buggering off back home again and not paying their rent? Is that an issue?
Yeah. We had a few people suggesting that that's what they were going to do. As it all unfolded, they would jump on a plane and go home.
Yeah, nice.
But what we have said to them is, look, you don't need to run away. We will work with you and find a reasonable solution that everybody's happy with.
Okay.
A good deal is only a good deal if everybody's happy.
Absolutely. And then how's this affected the lettings market and the sales market in such an unusual crisis like this?
Well, look, I speak to a lot of the agents all the time. I mean, from a sales point of view, it's been pretty catastrophic from as soon as it happened. Lots of deals fell out of bed, and any deals that were ongoing, there's been lots of prices being chipped, which you would expect. And it's going to take a while for those sales guys to pick that pipeline back up from nothing. So, it is a worry for them. It could be the end of the year before that pipeline gets back to where it was. On the letting side, it started off pretty bad because all of a sudden the demand just disappeared. But what we found actually in the last 2 or 3 weeks, demand has picked up, and we are doing deals through remote tours and sort of Zoom touring around the property. But fortunately, we've got some fantastic agents working really hard, and we are letting properties.
So are the Zoom tours and the remote tours and the FaceTime tours, do they work?
They do, yeah. We've done a few deals now on the back of people not actually going to the property. But look, if you've got to move, you've got to move.
Yeah.
And fortunately for us, as I said, we've got fantastic agents who are really proactive. They got into the property really quickly at the end of March, before the lockdown started. They did the tours. And from that, we've done our lettings.
Because you had agents running around all your properties, filming the rooms and showing them, and that's
doing that before lockdown.
Right.
And then any properties that have come available during lockdown when they're empty, it's not so much of a problem, because there's no one in the house, you're not affecting anybody.
And do you think that's the way forward now? Like, if someone wants to see a property, why do they need to, especially in London, why do you need to get on the tube and get all the way over there and get all the way back when instead you could just have like a pretty reasonable...
Yeah, I'm not convinced that that's the way forward. I think that these are drastic times, and as I said, if you've got to move, then you'll make that decision. If you don't have to take a property on the back of a virtual tour, you're going to want to go and have a look.
No, but like, your first viewing should be a virtual viewing, and your second viewing should be a final viewing.
Yeah, the virtual viewings have been going on for a while. Lots of agents have had that up on Rightmove and Zoopla, where you can take a virtual tour.
Yeah, but
that's not new. I think what's new is that deals have been done solely on the back of it.
Well, surely the levels at which people are doing these virtual tours have gone through the roof as well, because there's no other answer for them.
At the moment, no other answer. Especially if you've got existing tenants in the property, then the existing tenants don't want to let anybody in to do the viewings, and potential tenants don't want to go into a property to do the viewings. So there's been no choice. Yeah.
Do you know what I think? I reckon this crisis has just accelerated a load of improvements that might have taken 3 or 5 or 10 years to unfold, and instead we've just rolled out the whole lot in 2 months, and some of it's really good stuff.
Well, I think what a lot of business owners and business managers have done now in the last 8 weeks is they've had this real in-depth investigation into how they run the businesses, what they're spending their money on, what their expenses are. And when you're forced to make cutbacks, after a period of time, you sort of forget that you needed to spend that money in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think that some of the changes that we've seen in the last 8 weeks, I think they will continue.
Yeah.
I think as far as commercial landlords are concerned, I think that is a worry, because now we're in a situation where you've got these great big workforces all working remotely. And I think in most cases, it's working okay. Not in all cases, but in some, it's working okay.
Yeah.
And you've got to start thinking as a business owner, do I need to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds of London rent?
Business rates, astronomical business rates.
Charges, exactly.
Yeah.
I can have everybody working remotely.
Yeah. I think retail's going to be quite interesting because at the end of the March quarter, we hadn't really seen much of an impact or anything, and apparently like 40% of the rents were paid in some shopping centres and what have you. But at the end of the June quarter, I think they'd be grateful to collect any rent at all, right?
Yes, I think so. I mean, at the moment we're sitting in this sort of weird sweet spot, I think, where people have had cash reserves which they're living off, or they're still getting paid, maybe only 80%, but they are still getting paid. Their lifestyle has come down significantly.
Massive
people
savings.
Aren't paying their landlords, or people aren't paying loans and mortgages and council tax and things like that. But when that comes to an end, which it will do in the next 2 to 3 months, they're going to have to go back and start paying bills, and what cash reserves are going to be left over. I think that's when the crunch is going to hit people.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting times ahead. So what do you think holds for the future of your industry then?
Well, I think that this has been so dramatic for everybody.
Yeah.
As a London management company, I'm grateful that there will always be demand in London. I don't think that's going to go away. And there is now a lot of this pent-up demand over the last 8 weeks. And I think once people feel more comfortable, people will start coming out and looking at properties and signing tenancies, and life will go on. I think my biggest worry and my biggest sympathies are with the independent agents, the local high street agents. I was one for 15 years, and I know how tough that business is at the best of times, let alone when you come through 8 weeks of this. And what's so sad is this is through no fault of theirs. This is something that's just happened to them. And I think it's a real shame. I think a lot of businesses are really going to struggle to see out the rest of this year.
It's definitely a bit of a spring clean, isn't it? And then, do you guys do any short lets, or is it all just 6 months minimum?
6 months minimum. 12 months really is the main focus.
And what's demand like for properties with gardens now?
Well, in London, it's always hard. It's hard anyway. If you're taking a 2-bedroom flat, it's difficult to find the outside space.
Mate, if I didn't have my garden, I'd have lost it by now. I think I might have lost it anyway, but thank God I've got a garden. I think you must be charging a premium for places with gardens now, right?
Well, that's the norm anyway. In London, if there's a garden or a balcony, there's normally a premium anyway. So yeah, I think people are really seeing the benefit. But having said that, I think everybody's hoping that this isn't going to happen again. Yeah, who knows?
I mean, there's probably going to be a second wave. It might take a little while. I said to the guys a couple of weeks ago, I said, just imagine that everything's changed permanently. And the benefit is this crisis, you can just make all the changes that you want to make, and you can make them all in one go. Just write down a list of anything you want to do that's going to improve your business. Ding, 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 ding. And do one a day and just crack on with it, because no one's going to bat an eyelid, and you can do the whole lot.
Yeah.
Any horror stories that you've heard of?
No, honestly. I mean, I keep saying it. I'm grateful. I've got a fantastic team here who know how to speak to tenants and know how to speak to landlords. They don't try and provoke difficult situations, because at the end of the day, my team just want a simple life anyway.
Yeah.
So they try and find a simple solution. And where we have had some real dramatic responses from our tenants and our landlords who are desperate for the rent to come in, so far, in nearly all cases, we've just found a way to get around it. We found a way for everybody to get on board. And I actually think the general nature of the public throughout this has been really positive. People have wanted to help where they can. Yeah,
I think you're spot on there. Everyone realises that you've got to be positive, you've got to take a can-do attitude. Apart from the virtual tours that have been increased, have you adopted any other systems or tech to help cope with the disruption?
Well, we've always run the business here where we were able to work remotely anyway, because when we have bad winters here and the snow is bad, I don't want my staff having to risk accidents by having to drive them to the office. So we were always set up remotely anyway, and we review that remote access every year. We normally do it around Christmas time. So we only did it quite recently, and we updated a few things then. So for us, the transition actually has been quite seamless.
Well, I actually know a couple of your founding landlords, your founding clients who've got portfolios that you manage. I know that they're very hot on their tech, some in particular. So I imagine your tech and your systems work seamlessly, whether there's a crisis or not. You don't seem particularly fazed by it, if I may say so, Adam.
Because of the volume of properties that we manage, we've got hundreds of rents coming in every day. And the way that we operate our rent collection part of the service, we don't have specific rent days where we make payment. So if you're one of our landlords, you don't have to wait a week or 2 weeks for us to pay the rent. We pay the rent when it comes into the account on that day. So it's really important from a remote banking point of view that my accounts team are sort of fully functional. So they were, before this happened, they were already set up at home with 3 monitor screens and printers and all the access they need.
But then if you've got 10 staff and they're each saving themselves 10 hours a week, you're saving hundreds and thousands of hours across the whole year, and presumably the work-life balance has sort of been restored. Although I imagine some of your staff have got kids they got to look after, and that's all a bit stressy. But
yes, and obviously yes, when kids are involved, it is obviously a lot more stressful. But
no comment.
The guys in the team that don't have children,
but they're loving it, apart from the fact they can't go down the pub.
Well, that's the downside, and actually, that's pretty tough. If you're living alone and you can't go out and you can't see friends, then whilst working from home may be more comfortable for them, I think the problem for anybody working from home is there's no release. So your day doesn't start or finish. The day just keeps going.
Yeah. There's been a few people in the club who've managed to cope really well with this crisis. Toby and Charlie Guest in Bristol, who've got 160 service departments. Their occupancy crashed to 30%. They managed to get it back up to 100 about 4 weeks later. They had to drop their rents a little bit to do it. But I think it just says something for the calibre of the people in the club, actually, that they've managed to handle this crisis and cope with it and get on top of it and take the opportunity to take a fresh look at their businesses and improve them. We're kind of running out of time, but is there anything you want to leave us with?
No, I've always been a sort of glass half full kind of person, so I try and look at everything as positively as I can. And whilst I know this is a terrible situation for everybody, and everyone's got their health worries and financial worries, it feels like maybe there is a sort of very subtle change now. And today they announced they're sort of opening the property industry back up again and allowing estate agents to go about their work and start moving people into properties. But I'm hoping that's going to kickstart maybe a bit more of a positive feeling and maybe a bit more normality. I mean, the property industry is so important to everybody because it's people's lives. And if people are trying to buy a house and move on with their life and progress, then that's going to make people feel better. But at the same time, if people need to sell to get out of a sticky situation, that's really important as well. So, I'm hoping with today, with the latest guidelines, maybe we'll start to see a very subtle change.
Yeah, I think you just got to do the best you can under difficult circumstances and just try and embrace the change and see the opportunity in it. The opportunity is to improve your efficiencies in your systems and your productivity.
Yeah, and I think my main advice for landlords is communication. Just keep that communication going with your tenants. You just need to be upfront and honest with them. If you're self-managing, just have that very difficult, awkward conversation and maybe tell them what your anxieties are. You've got to pay this loan, you've got to pay that loan, and tell them that, we're all in this together. As long as you keep the chat open and honest, then I think you'll find people are more reasonable than maybe what people think.
I think the landlords who are going to struggle the hardest are the student portfolio landlords who've got unlet properties for September. I mean, if you were thinking of taking a gap year and you weren't sure if you'd go to uni or take a gap year as an 18-year-old A-level graduate, you're probably going to take a gap year, right?
I think that what's been even harder for those landlords is actually the students who left, who maybe came home at Easter. They probably haven't gone back, but their rent is still due. And if they know they're not going back, I would imagine students or the parents, whoever's paying their rent, is going to be pretty reluctant to make that last quarter's payment. And I don't know, what's the argument you have there? I mean, for a landlord, you're trying to demand the rent because they're obliged to pay it, but they know they're not going to go back to the property. That's a really difficult situation. And I think, again, I'd say to the landlords, they've got to have open conversations with their lenders and see what they can work out.
Yeah, the landlords aren't... I haven't heard of any lenders letting anybody off any interest yet. Holidays and deferment, but...
Yes, but if that's the best you're going to get, then that is a really difficult situation.
I'll tell you how I used to do it. So when I had 80 tenants in Reading, I used to say to my lettings guy who was letting the rooms, he used to come back to me and say, this one's put an offer forward on this room, this one's put an offer forward on that room. I said, look, he wants 50 quid a month off that room, that's £600 a year. If I do that for him, I've just devalued my property by £6,000. So 50 quid to him is £6,000 to me, and the answer's no. And for the student landlords, they can say, look, I could let you off 2 months' rent, and then I'll just, put my kids on the street and take them out of school or whatever. The answer's like, look, you signed the contract and you'll have to make an insurance claim or something, but I'm not your insurance policy.
Yeah, which, look, I can understand. I mean, people seem to think that just because you're a landlord, it means you're rich millionaire. Exactly. And quite often that isn't the case. It's a business for people.
It's not
just a business here. No. Their business is their property.
It's not just a business, your livelihood.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's been great talking to you, Adam. That's all we've got time for today. I just want to say thank you for sharing your insights over the last 2 months.
My pleasure.
And it sounds to me like you're really on top of it. I'm not worried about you at all. Don't think I ever was. But good luck with the next number of weeks or however long this
thank you.
disruption carries on for. See you soon, buddy.
Thanks.
Cheers.